Hello,
Hello, Timmy. Hello.
hello. I can hear you.
Okay, great, great. Okay, let's just wait for a little more time. Can you hear me clearly?
Yep.
Let's just wait for a little more time for what do you call it, for people to join us. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes. All right. Timmy, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's cool. We just go ahead with the program. Um, so I want to appreciate you for taking out time to be here with us at Rec Labs. I know you've been a very busy person and all. So we really appreciate you, taking out your time, right, to be here with us. Okay, so let me just before we go into the nitty-gritty of what we are about to talk about, everything we're going to be talking about, on this call is just revolving around data engineering, AI, like how does data engineering, what's the role of a data engineer when it comes to an AI system, right? So, and what are the things you need to be able to do, right, in order to become a data engineer that can actually build, a robust AI system, and what are the things you shouldn't do, right? But before I go too far on this, let me do justice by introducing our speaker, right? I've known Timmy for a little while, but let me just, give a detailed explanation or briefings regarding Timmy. All right. So Temilola is a smart, passionate data nerd and automation geek. Not only is he a data engineer at Microsoft, he's also certified by the Data Science Council of America. So far, he has garnered ample experience by working in the financial, IT, and service sectors. Not being a regular data engineer, Temilola has exhibited outstanding qualities by winning 2 data hackathons and a winner in Microsoft Azure AI Hackathon 2019. Temilola is committed to lifelong learning in the data space. I hope I did justice, Timmy.
It's not me you're talking of. It's not me, literally.
So probably I should just add some little bit of spice, right? All right, then without further ado, so let's just go straight to the to what we are about to talk about. I mean, the major reason why we are gathered here. So tell me, right, how did you dive into data engineering? Can you just tell us a little bit about your story, how you got into data engineering, and how you were able to get into working at Microsoft as a data engineer?
Well, for me, I started data engineering as early as 2019 December. I can remember then we just got back from one of all those DSN boot camps then. I know you remember one of all those Dr. Bio boot camps then. And in one of the sections by one person like that, it was talking about deploying ML models and all of that. And I mean, for me, I was like, oh, apart from just training machine learning models, we should be able to deploy them. So started December 2019. And from there, worked with Octave Analytics, which was where I had my first hands-on real experience in data engineering. And I wouldn't say it was pretty much very easy. It wasn't very easy. And what else? I started with working in a banking environment. Yeah, so the data engineering I was doing, there was just to write SQL query.
Okay, can anybody hear me over there? If you can hear me, just type in the chat that you can hear me. I want to be sure. Okay, I think it's Dennis network. Okay. Let me see if I can. Okay. Let's just do a little bit of waiting. I'm sure it's going to join us shortly. We'll be back into the conversation. So a little bit of what is said. Okay, Timmy, wow, you're back. Hello, Timmy, you are muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We lost you actually.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah.
No, it's fine. So you were talking about working at Octave Analytics. You said it wasn't easy. You went through a lot, and it wasn't a smooth journey at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So data engineering then. I know I was doing data engineering for like a fintech environment or a banking environment where we have to check number of tables that have dropped for analytics and all those things. Then it got interesting. I left Octave Analytics after a year, but during my stay at Octave Analytics, that was where I was able to put in for the DASCA certification. And then afterwards, after the DASCA certification, I left Octave Analytics for Papangona, where we're working on deploying AI models. So it wasn't just doing data engineering for the normal analytical things. This time around, Babangona was working on building computer vision products, which was deploying your models in such a way that the drone could work with your models and all of that. So there was the data engineering part of things there. And yeah, left Babangona. Then I joined where I met Elisha. I joined Parallel Core, and yeah, it's been awesome so far having to work with great folks. Before Parallel Core, joining Microsoft, and I mean, yeah, it's been a journey in the space of 2 years, if you ask me. Yeah, 2020, wow. Not fully 2 years, sure.
Yeah. Wow. So basically, you say that it's possible for somebody to become a really growing data engineer within the space of 2 years.
Yeah, if you put in the work, shall, because I mean, yeah, you know, some people want to become data engineers or AI engineers, but they're not ready to put in the work. If you look at it, those days, then we hardly sleep. We sleep for just 4 hours, 5 hours. We are always doing one thing or the other, checking if model has trained, checking if table has dropped. For someone like you who is an AI engineer now, you'll be checking the statistics of your AI model. You'll be checking the performing of all those apps with your neural networks and everything. For someone like me, I'll be looking at my data pipeline. Oh, why is this thing failing? Why is this thing not working out this way? And I mean, there's that time to pay the sacrifice. So if you want to do it in 2 years, yes, it's possible. If you want to do it in 6 months, it's possible, but are you ready to put in the work?
That's interesting. So basically, a person can become a data engineer within 2 years. That's very, very interesting. I really like your storyline. So
you can become an entry-level data engineer. Let's be specific.
Okay, entry
you
level.
can become entry level or mid-level. You can't become a senior data engineer in 2 years. No. Oh, no, it depends. To there are exceptions. There are exceptions. I'll say I'm an exception.
Okay.
Yeah, that's there are exceptions.
Okay. Yeah. So this is my next question. So what were the key things that you took note of that made you a successful data engineer? What are the things you paid attention to? Or what, for people that are aspiring to become data engineers like yourself, what are the key things or the fundamental things they need to really pay attention to in order for them to be successful in their career? I'm sure a lot of people are doing data science, data this, data that, but a lot of them are just speaking from here and there. But when it comes to data engineering, for someone that wants to dive deep into data engineering and to become a successful data engineer, right? So what are the key things, right, this particular person has to pay attention
to? Number one, because of the way the world has turned out to be, yes, the number one thing I think I know I would do if I want to become a successful data engineer, starting all over again, is I would invest in it. Yeah, because I mean, you can't say you want to be a data engineer and you probably just want to like work with whatever you can see. If you invest in it, you will learn it quickly. Why do I say so? Imagine you draw out a plan now, and one of the major things you are doing is I'm investing 100,000 naira or 50,000 naira to buy cloud credits of the 3 different cloud providers. That's the number one thing I would do. I would invest in it. You can't become a successful data engineer if you are not ready to invest in it. I mean, how would you be able to work with Snowflake, BigQuery, Redshift, if you are not ready to pay for those things? Or if you are not ready to pay for the tools that are being used? Then number two, the second thing I now would do is, apart from investing in it, I would work on more projects, more real-life projects. So one thing I did then was I drew out a plan of 4 companies. These 4 companies that I would love to work with. What's data engineering like for these 4 companies? So if you are someone just starting out and you want to maybe join a startup or a fintech, you can reach out to those people that are already working there and know what their current tech stack is like. It is not bad. Yeah. So I said, number one, I would invest. Number two, what did I say? I would reach out and find out what the companies I'm interested in, what are they currently doing. Then that way it will shaping my learning journey. And number 3, what I now do is, apart from working on a lot of projects, in this era and this time, if you are working on a lot of projects, if you have good knowledge, if you are investing into learning, nobody will blow your trumpet for you. So as long as you are doing number 1 and number 2, number 3, you have to blow your trumpet yourself. You have to talk about your projects. You have to talk about how you are paying so much.
Leverage on the age of like Twitter, tweet about your projects.
Exactly.
A lot of other
In fact, it's okay to rant that, yes, so you forgot an Amazon EC2 instance on overnight. It's okay for people to laugh at you. But I mean, tweeting something like that now, you get traction. People know that, oh, at least you know how to deploy an EC2 instance. It means you're getting your hands dirty.
I think that's one of the things that really helped me also in my career, right? I was, during the early time of my own stuff too, I was always thinking about what I was doing. And as a result of the tweeting and all, it's landed me, a couple of jobs and the recruiters. I was always thinking that it's not possible to even do AI in this country, right? Because almost everybody are doing data science, analytics, and all. But as a result of the tweeting and all, it really, really helped. Okay, that's actually very, very cool, right? So you said you will invest and you will also
1, I will invest. 2, work on projects. 3, I will blow my trumpet.
Okay, great. Okay, do you have a typical AI project that you worked on? And I would love you to just share with us how you were able to carry out the data engineering aspect of that project. For people that are looking forward to building an AI solution, right? So they are data engineers, right? They want to be able to participate in an AI. So what are the typical things that a data engineer needs to really pay attention to? Or just tell us from your experience from from a couple of AI projects that you've worked on, right? Or companies you've worked with, right? What are the major things you paid attention to, right, that made you successfully build the data pipeline? You can talk about tools, you can talk about processes also.
Yes. So okay, I would mention this project, but I'm trying to look if I'm not preaching agreements. Okay. So I worked on.
You don't necessarily have to talk about project. Just tell us you worked on one of the projects.
Yeah. So I worked in a particular project in the phase of my career. It's more or less not totally. It's AI, but not really the big AI thing like that. But it was about predicting taxi out time. So taxi out time means you're trying to predict the time that a plane will spend on the runway before takeoff, the amount of time it takes for the plane to load, all those logistics and everything, just the time it takes for the plane to take off now. And the reason why this company were trying to do this is because as at that period, they noticed that they were over planning most of the time. So what do I mean by over planning most of the time? It's like they were paying so much for aircraft and they wanted to reduce it. Wow. They wanted to reduce it. Okay. They're paying so much for aircraft for. So one thing we did was, the very first thing you need to pay attention to is you need to understand the kind of domain you are working with, in the sense that when you understand the domain, you're able to identify the data sources. You can't build a data pipeline. You can't deploy an AI model without getting the real data sources you need to work with. So understanding data sources you're working with is the first thing you need to do. Then you need to ask yourself, is it structured, semi-structured, or unstructured data? I mean, virtually all of us started our data science journey working with CSV files, pd.read CSV. Yes, but we all graduated from working with CSV files to working with sound files to working with images and all of that. And the way you process images is different. So one of the few things you do is understand your data sources, then start asking questions like, what are the tools you need to work with? in processing these data sources. So I can add then in building one of the data pipeline, I worked with a particular tool called MLflow. Yeah, so because of the environment, so as a Spark environment, what we did was the way MLflow is that it allows you to version the model. So it's just pretty much straightforward. Everything is connected in that system. It's more or less like, I'm trying to remember the name of this system, not Databricks environment, something similar to Databricks environment. I don't know if you can help me here. You use it to provision instances and the rest like that. Kubeflow.
Okay, Kubeflow.
Yeah, so it was a Kubeflow kind of environment and all of that. Then a second project I want to talk about is where we worked with images. It's my first time having to build something that has to do with images. So what we did was, for the images, they were all in an S3 bucket. And yes, there is this service called Bulk Copy in AWS. So all we were just doing was we're pushing the data there. Then the model, this time around, they built the model and deployed the model as pickle files, then built microservices from it and just deployed it straight. But if I were to do all these things now, I feel like those things are not standard. They were just crash, carry and dump, like you just carry and save it like that. So right now, I'm sure if we were to do that all over again, we'll start talking about API security, data quality, using tools like Great Expectations, API 6, putting the right infrastructure in place for all these things.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so there's a question I would love to ask. One next question I'd love to ask, then we can start looking into some questions from the audience, right? Is data engineering more about pipelining?
No. If you ask me, I'll say no.
Okay,
it's not all about pipelining.
Can you just give us more or less like a high level of what data engineering is all about? I believe data pipeline is just one of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Processing is also one of it and all. So what are the other parts that we need to be fully aware of before we can say, okay, yes, we're actually doing, or we can be fully ready for an AI system as a data engineer?
Yes. So as a data engineer, for you to be fully ready for an AI system, it's not just about pipelining. Yes, so you need to ask yourself questions. So you are connecting two different worlds together. You are connecting the stakeholders world together, and you're connecting the data scientist world together. So it's like you're the one in the middle. You need to get data ready for the data scientist to build these models, to build these AI models. And you also need to be able to like get the right data that would speak to what the stakeholders are trying to solve. So it's not just about pipelining. At some point, you become a business analyst. Why? Because you need to understand the business problem. At some point, you become a product manager. Why? Because even after they've deployed the model and everything, you will begin to ask yourself questions like, is there something we can do for continuous training of the models? Because if you look at it these days, people use YouTube and Netflix and all these things. And these things, they keep doing training on the go. So it's not just about pipelining. It's about, at some point, you're a BA, some point, you're a product manager, you're asking questions. You're not just building pipeline. Once you build a pipeline, you keep improving on it. So it's not just about data pipelining.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. What are the typical data engineering tools or standard tools that we need to really learn, in order for us to have a successful AI system as a data engineer?
So tools you really need to learn that to have a successful AI system. I would say the very first tool you would want to learn would be learn how to use Airflow for a successful AI system. Learn how to use Airflow, learn how to use tools like MLflow, Kubeflow. Wow, they're all having flows in between them. Then also, you would also want to learn how to use a tool like Great Expectations for data quality. You know how to check data quality. Then also, Airflow for workflow orchestration, MLflow. Then you would also want to know how to build APIs, how to build microservices. So it's okay for you to have ideas on tools like Flask, Django, all these TensorFlow lights and the rest. Yes,
Dapper.
it's okay. Exactly. Dapper. Thank you for reminding me. Dapper, actually. API 6. Yes, because at the end of the day, as a data engineer, at some point, you do purely software engineering. Yes, you do purely software engineering. Well, because you begin to ask yourself, when we deploy this model now, how many API calls are we expecting? What if there is something that comes out of the blues? You start asking yourself, okay, do I need to know how to use Terraform to script out my environment? Do I need to know how to work in a Kubernetes environment and all of that? Yes. Then also you need to know how to use Docker also. Yeah, why? Because when you know how to use Docker, it's easy for you to encapsulate every single thing. It's easy for you to protect your environment. Docker is like the Conda environment of the software world, where you protect every single thing and make sure that, yes, so you can take it from one place to another place and be sure that, yes, it's going to work.
Okay, great. Okay, so I think I would love to take some questions from from folks on the call here. Just in case you have any question, you can just type it in the chat section. I'll read it out to our speaker and he will do justice to it. While we are waiting for some questions, I would love to just take some questions from those that registered. You know, some people registered and they, added some questions they would love to ask you. And I think one of the questions here is, what are the stacks to learn if you want to work at Microsoft? Okay, I think we've asked something similar. So let me just say, or do you want to answer that?
I would answer it literally. I would answer it because I tell
like,
people that
based on the fact that you've been working at Microsoft now, what's like data engineering? What's the data engineering experience in Microsoft?
Okay. Yeah. So the data engineering experience in Microsoft is that it is soft in the sense that it is not rigorous like when you find yourself in a startup where you have to do everything from scratch. So in Microsoft, you can have like 10 people doing one thing or 5 people doing one thing. And the stack is pretty much simple. So at Microsoft, if you're trying to do something, you can either use Python for it, use SQL for it, or at the very least, there will be an internal tool that would make your life easier, and it's just be some little drag and drop. Yeah. And we have a lot of internal tools like that, whereby you're writing Python, but it's not just ordinary Python. It's like Python with a flavor of C#. You're writing SQL, but it's SQL with a flavor of C# or C++ and the rest. So when you're asking me about stack, just know Python and SQL.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let me make this the last question. Okay. Somebody's asking a question here saying that, how can I be a certified data engineer? Then, if I'm to be certified, what are the certifications that I need to get, or is it necessary for you to become a data engineer with certification?
In this era, it goes hand in hand. You know why I said so? If you're a data engineer, you can do so many things. You have the skills, but there's nothing out there to brand you. You wouldn't get the big jobs. You wouldn't get the juicy jobs. You wouldn't get that leverage. Yes. So the certifications you can look at, there are a ton of certifications, but certifications are not compulsory. They're only necessary to blow your trumpet, like I said.
Okay.
They are only necessary. So you can maybe look at the Azure Data Engineer. I work for Microsoft, so I have to call Microsoft first.
Azure, of course.
You can look at the Google Cloud Certified Data Engineer. And the last one you can look at is you can look at either DASCA or IBM Data Engineer. But at the end of the day, what matters is the number of projects you've worked on
and your skills.
And how well can you deliver, irrespective of the environment you find yourself. Yeah. So certifications are only a leverage.
Yeah. All right, great. All right, I think we've learned one or two things about AI systems, data engineering, and all. So I really want to appreciate you for taking out your time to be on this call with us, right? I'm sure quite a number of people in our AI community, within the Red Labs AI community, must have learned one or two things on how to
Yep,
be a
yep.
successful data engineer, the things you need to know, the things you should, bypass in order for you to be able to take part of building AI systems. And I'm sure they've heard one or two tools that they should, start working on. So this is an appreciation coming from us at Rec Labs to you. Thank you so much for,
Thank you.
being part of this, Let's Talk AI series. And we hope that whenever we call you, you always show up. All right, now,
Of
thank you
course.
so much for joining. I also want to appreciate everybody that joined us from YouTube, from Zoom and all. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Till the next time we'll meet, I think the next session will be out, and you all get to know about what we are going to be talking about, right? And please make sure you subscribe on the Rec Labs channel for you to keep abreast of what we are doing, the AI Talk series and talk shows. All right, take care, guys. See you guys.
Take
Bye.
care.